Hello everyone, I'll be presenting to you guys about why I disagree on the reintroduction of military service incentives. Now, firstly, before we get into the topic, I believe that we should learn first about the military service incentives. Now, what are military service incentives? Military service incentives are compensations for military personnel who have already gotten out of the military. Now, the compensations are as follows. They are given additional points of not more than 5% as a job candidate or a government officer that is currently taking an exam. Now, nextly, I'll talk about the backstory. Now, before December 23, 1999, the incentive system was actually being used. But on December 23, 1999, the Constitutional Court ruled the incentive system unconstitutional because they actually said that it was very unfair for other people who have not gone into the military to actually compete against the people who have gotten into the military, getting up to 5% additional points in getting jobs or taking the exam to become a government officer. But currently in 2024 and in the recent states, the Ministry of National Defense is pushing for a plan to reintroduce military service incentives. And they are actually saying that they are going to lower these incentives to 2% additional points so that it is not too much and it is not going to be unfair to the people who have not gone to the military. They believe that this would solve the unfairness that the incentive system before had. Now, I'll state three reasons on why I believe that the reintroduction of incentive system is actually not good. Now, the first reason is a constitutional problem. Now, I have gotten this from the Constitution of Korea website, and in Article 30 and the Article 39 of the Constitution of Korea states that all citizens shall have the duty of national defense under the condition as prescribed by Act. Now, from this, we can actually see that the military service is not a special sacrifice, but it is a performance of the sacred nation's duty. So this basically means that this is something that a citizen must do, and for that, this does not mean that a citizen should get special service. I mean, a uh, special present in a form of additional points when getting jobs or when taking exams. And I also completely agree with this. So this was my first reasoning. And the second reasoning is the negative effect of incentives. Now, people have always thought that a 5% incentive would actually give a negative effect to the job to people actually taking jobs, but they didn't know how severe it could be. And in a news, they actually showed a simulation applying a certain point of a certain additional point and see how it actually affected the society. So this is the Yonhap News Kim. This is from Yonhap News Kim Jong-un reporter, and I'll tell you guys the information. Now, now the Ministry of Public Administration did a simulation applying a 2.5 military additional score ratio on the government officer exams. Now, 2.5 is only 0.5% higher than the percentage that our current government is trying to implement. So we should keep that in mind. And in conclusion, the number of male successful applicants increased by 12.9, while the number of female successful applicants decreased by 12.9. Now, what this shows that even though they only applied a small number, which is 2.5 to the government officer exams, we could see that there was a major difference leading up to 12.9%. This shows how severe additional points can impact the society and how it can differentiate whether one gets the job or not. Now the last reason is the availability of other measures. Now, I believe that the the incentive system is a measure that is very radical and something that should not be implemented in the current state of society. And there was somebody that my ideas actually connected with, which was Kim Son-taek, and he is a professor in the Koreode University, and I have gotten this from his KCRA article. Now, he believed that there were measures such as social service, increasing women soldiers, and volunteer military system. But but he also believed that these could also be very radical, and these could also impact the society in a bad way as well. So he actually introduced other measures, and this could be differentiated into two parts. The first part being measures during service, and the second part being measures after service. Now, for measures during service, there are increased pay during service, better counseling and mentoring system inside the military for better mental health, and educational program while in duty. And for measures after service, there are providing discharge allowance and financial aid for educational expenses so that the people that are inside the military wouldn't lag behind the people that have not gotten into the military. So as we can see from Kim Son-taek professor's several measures, I also believe that there are way more other available measures that can impact the society in a good way while not impacting it in a negative way like the incentive system could do. Now, lastly, for my closing remark, these are the three reasons that I have stated once again. And the first reason was that there is a constitutional problem where going to the military is someone's duty and it is not something to be thought of as special. And the second reason was that the negative effect of incentives are major and it led up to 12.9% of differences between both sexes. And the third reason was that other measures are too readily available than military service incentives, that there is actually really not that many reasons to implement these military service incentives. Now, these are my references, and thank you for listening.